Hello guys, today we are going to explain and study about that Constitutional Law 2. In the Constitutional Law 1, we are already learned from Article 1 to 51, and Constitutional Law 2, we are detailed discussion the articles from Article 53 to 52 to 368 articles. In this Constitutional Law 2, Article 52 defines Union Executive. The Union Executive, the President, Vice President and Council of Ministers. Article 52 to 78 and 123. Here, in Indian concept, the parliamentary form of government. In India, the Constitution establishes a parliamentary form of government as distinguished from the American presidential type of government. The essence of the parliamentary type of government is the head of the state is the constitutional head and the real executive powers are vested in the Council of Ministers. The Prime Minister is the head of the Council of Ministers. The Council of Ministers is responsible to the House of the People. Though the executive power is vested in the President, but he exercises this power with the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. The members of the Council of Ministers are elected by the people and they are members of the legislatures. And President, Article 52-53. Article 52, the Constitution says that there shall be a President of India. He is the head of the state. The executive power of the Union. Article 53 says, he is the executive power of the Union, shall be vested in the President and it shall be exercised by him accordance with the Constitution, either directly or through officers subordinate to him. It includes a minister also. Executive power. The executive power is not defined in the Constitution. Article 73, however, provides that the executive power of the Union shall extend to matters with respect to which Parliament has power to make laws and includes exercise of such rights, authority and jurisdiction as are exercised by the Government of India by virtue of any treaty of agreement. Position of the President. Here, the position of the President goes to the Articles 42nd and 44th Amendments. Prior to the 42nd Amendment Act of 1976, Article 53 Clause 1 says that the executive power of the Union shall be vested in the President and shall be exercised by him either directly or through shall officers subordinate to him in accordance with the Constitution. Officer subordinate to him means Minister also a executive power on behalf of the President. Originally, Article 74 provides that there shall be a Council of Ministers with the Prime Minister at the head. The aid and advise the President shall not be inquired into any court. The court cannot question the President's order, the President's power under Article 74. And Article 75 says that the Prime Minister shall be appointed by the President and the other ministers shall be appointed by the President on the advice of the Prime Minister. Here, and Article 75 Clause 2, the Minister shall hold office during the pleasure of the President. Prior to the Constitution 42nd Amendment, there was no clear provision in the Constitution that the President was bound by the ministerial advice. In the essence of the parliamentary government, the real executive power should be exercised by the Council of Ministers responsible to the Lok Sabha. The President cannot exercise his powers without aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. That is, the existence of the Council of Ministers is obligatory. Even when the Lok Sabha is dissolved, the Council of Ministers remain in office to aid and advise the President. Here, there are three types of opinions are there according to President's power and Union Executive. First of all, The Ambedkar's opinion. Under the draft constitution, the president occupies the same position as the king under the English constitution. He is the head of the state but not of the executive. He represents the nation but does not rule the nation. He is the symbol of the nation. His place in the administration is that of a ceremonial device on a seal by which the nation decisions are made known. He will be generally bound by the advice of the ministers. He can do nothing contrary to their advice, nor can do anything without their advice. Next opinion, Dr. Rajendra Prasad opinion. Rajendra Prasad expressed a similar view in these words. Although there is no specific provision of the constitution itself making it binding on the president to accept the advice of his ministers, it is hoped that convention under which in England the king always acted in the advice of his ministers would be established in this country, and also president would become constitutional president in all matters. And next, the Supreme Court of India has constantly taken the view that the position of the president and governors are under the Indian constitution is similar to the position of the crown under the British parliamentary system. And next, we are going to discuss about 58 defines qualifications. Article 58 provides qualifications of the president. He must be a citizen of India. He must have completed the age of 35 years. He must be qualified for election as a member of the House of the People. He must not hold any office of public profit under the Government of India or the government of any state or under any local or other authority subject to the contrary of any of the said governments. And next, election of the president. Article 54 provides the election of the president. The president of India is not directly elected by the people. Article 54 provides that the president shall be elected by an electoral college consisting of the elected members of both houses of parliament, the elected members of the legislative assemblies of the states. And next, powers. The president has executive powers, military powers, and legislative powers, ordinance making power, pardoning power, and emergency power. Administrative power. The execution of laws and administration of the department of government, military powers, command of the armed forces and the conduct of war, legislative power, summoning, prorogation, judicial power, granting of pardons, reprieves. These are the powers according to our Indian Constitution provides the president. And next we are going to discuss about the ordinance making power. What is ordinance? The most important legislative power of the president is his ordinance making power. If at any time when both houses of parliament are not in session and the president is satisfied that circumstances existed render it necessary for him to take immediate action, he may issue such ordinance as the circumstances appear to him to require. The ordinance issued by him shall have same force as an act of parliament. Such ordinance, however, must be laid before both houses of parliament and shall cease to operate at the expiry of 6 weeks from the date of reassembly of parliament, unless a resolution disapproving it passed by both houses of parliament before the expiration of 6 weeks. The ordinance making of the power coincides with the legislative power of the parliament, that is to say that it may relate to any subject in respect of which parliament has power to legislate. Hence the ordinance will be void insofar it makes the provisions which under the constitution the parliament is not competent to make. Thus an ordinance cannot violate the fundamental rights. And next, pardoning power. Article 72 provides pardoning power. President has to grant pardons, reprise, respites, or remissions of punishment, or to suspend, remit, or commute the sentence of any person convicted of any offence. Here, And next, there is a after 42nd and 42nd Amendment Act 1976. This amendment removes all doubts about the position of the President under the Indian Constitution. It has amended Article 74 of the Constitution, which makes it clear that the President shall be bound by the advice of the Council of Ministers. It says there shall be a Council of Ministers with the Prime Minister at the head to aid and advise the President, who shall, in exercise of his functions, act in accordance with such advice. In view of the Constitution 42nd Amendment, the President could not play even the role of an advisor or a guide. Direct relation between the Council of Ministers and Union Executive. Here there is one important case in the Union Executive and Council of Ministers, the UN Rao versus Indira Gandhi 1971 case. In this case, there are very important in the Article 74 Clause 1 and Article 55 Clause 1 and Article 83 Clause 2, 75 Clause 3 and 74 Clause 1, 75 Clause 2. Here the Supreme Court held that even after the dissolution of the Lok Sabha, the Council of Ministers does not cease to hold office. Article 74 Clause 1 is mandatory, and therefore the President cannot exercise the executive power without the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. Any exercise of executive power without such aid and advice will be unconstitutional in view of Article 75 Clause 1. The facts of the case are as follows. After the dissolution of the Lok Sabha, the Prime Minister and Srimati Indira Gandhi and her Council of Ministers continued to hold office. The appellant by writ of quo warranto prayed for a declaration that Prime Minister had no constitutional authority to hold office and to function as Prime Minister. He contended that as soon as the House of the People was dissolved under Article 83 Clause 2 of the Constitution, the Council of Ministers, the Prime Minister and other ministers ceased to hold office. According to the appellant, this follows from the wordings on Article 75 Clause 3. Article 75 Clause 3 provides Council of Ministers shall be collectively responsible to the House of the People. How can the Council of Ministers responsible to the House of the People when it is not existence? If dissolved under Article 83 Clause 2, the Supreme Court held that provisions Article 75 Clause 3, which emphasizes the doctrine of ministerial responsibility, has to harmoniously constitute with the provisions of Article 74 Clause 1 and 75 Clause 2 thus constitute. Article 75 Clause 3 applies only when the House of the People does not stand dissolved or prorogued. It cannot therefore set on the dissolution of the House of the People. The Prime Minister and other ministers must resign or be dismissed by the Prime Minister. And the next important case, Shamsher Singh versus Union of India. This is 1971 case. The Supreme Court held that the President and the Governors are only constitutional or formal heads. They exercise their powers and functions under the Constitution only with the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. Here, it is a fundamental principle of English constitutional law that ministers must accept responsibility for every executive act in England. The sovereign never act on his own responsibility. The power of the sovereign is constituted by the practical rule that the Crown must find advisors to bear responsibility for his action. Next important case, Sardari Lal versus Union of India, where the President or Governor, as the case may be, if satisfied, makes an under Article 311 Clause 2. Article 311 Clause 2, satisfaction, regarding satisfaction. Here satisfaction means here in this article, according to this topic, Article 311 Clause 2, satisfaction means it it is not satisfaction of the Council of Ministers. It is only personal satisfaction of the Union Executive or State Executive. And next, Council of Ministers. Council of Ministers, originally Article 74 Clause 1, there shall be a Council of Ministers with the Prime Minister as its head to aid and advise the President in exercise of his functions. After 42nd Amendment 1976, the language of Article 74 Clause 1 is as and aid and advise of the President, who shall in exercise of his function act in accordance with the advice. According to Article 75 Clause 1, the Prime Minister shall be appointed by the President and other ministers shall be appointed by the President on the advice of the Prime Minister. Here, there is one doubt regarding Council of Ministers. A non-member can become a minister. A non-member can become a minister. Here, under Article 75 Clause 5, provides that a minister who for a period of 6 consecutive months is not a member of either House of Parliament shall cease to be a minister at the expiration of that period. Thus, there is no legal bar that minister must be a member of Parliament, and consider may be appointed. A minister must have become a Parliament within a period of 6 months. If he is not elected within the time mentioned above, he is bound to resign from the legislature. And appointment of Prime Minister. Article 74 Clause 1, appointment of the Prime Minister. Article 74 Clause 1, appointment of the Prime Minister. Clause 1. The Prime Minister shall be appointed by the President. Article 75 Clause 1. The other ministers shall be appointed by the President on the advice of the Prime Minister. Here in India, in case of multiple party system prevails in India, if none is here there is a party system or multiple party system. Here, multiple party system is prevail in India. If none is in a position to gain required majority and a coalition government is to be formed, the President can exercise a little discretion and select the leader of any party who is in his position can form stable ministry. However, it has been suggested that even in such a situation, the President action should be guided by certain conventions. First point, convention in England is that there is an England convention that in the case of defeat, the government in the House of the President should invite the leader of the opposition to explore the possibility of forming stable ministry. And the second point, it should be invite the largest single party in the Lok Sabha to form a government. And the third point, if two or more parties to form a coalition before the election and secure the majority in the Lok Sabha, he should be invite the leader of the coalition to form the government.